From the EMS staff. Anything to report?
No.
All right. Discussion and possible action on ad hoc committee minutes of January 24th, 2018.
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Discussion and possible action on work groups. So the staffing is Paul. So do you want to give us an update on the meeting that you had regarding the staffing issues?
Yeah, so we did meet on Thursday after the last meeting, and we had some clarification on hour requirements or ability to be flexible with the hours, and we've implemented some changes to get shifts covered.
Okay, what kind of changes?
It's a temporary fix,
Mhm.
allowing people to exceed those hours. It does have an effect on us, so they can pick up earlier in the year, but there's still an annual cap.
Okay, so they're going to have to keep track of their hours.
Towards the end of the year, we could run into an issue with people not being able to work because they've exceeded their cap.
Okay.
But for now, we're able to fill shifts using that
Mhm.
system.
Okay. And so how did everything go the last 2 weekends?
Went well.
Good.
Excellent.
Did you have a lot of calls last weekend and the weekend before with the festivities?
No, not really.
Okay, so
That's even better.
people were safe.
Yeah.
That's good news. Okay. Jim, the facilities?
Well, probably the same as last time, tonight we will be talking about in front of the council will be the request for an RFP. And Brandon will be presenting that, and assuming we're going to move ahead. You can tell from the presentation for the fire department that there's going to be room. So it should be a positive reaction, so.
Yeah, this is the first meeting that we've had because of the snowstorm. We had to cancel the last meetings where it was scheduled, so we weren't able to bring that issue up until now. All right. Any more issues here in City Hall that need to be addressed?
I don't believe so.
I think so.
People are reasonably satisfied with the changes and the privacy for the sleeping rooms, things like that?
Yeah, now that the rooms have switched over to, we gave up an office for another sleeping room, and we had a couple other creature comforts donated
Mm-hmm.
and installed
Yeah.
some stuff today, so.
Today,
Oh, what'd you have
Cool.
installed today?
cable TV's been installed in the rooms, so
Oh.
people can be in their own individual space.
Oh,
Oh, that's very excellent.
yeah.
Was that a donation, did you say?
Yes, the TVs were donated.
Hi, Tom.
Fantastic. Is there someone we should give credit to?
Yes, it was Paul.
Oh, okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, and did the suggestion box that he donated arrive?
yep, it's up. I've checked it daily. There hasn't been anything in there yet.
Okay,
It's there. So
all right. And we still don't have a finance work group going, and John isn't here to, so we'll have to, I guess I'll have to work with Joanne to contact him about that. All right. Number 6.
What do you think? You just need to have a conversation with him about when he's going to be here, or
Well, I'm just wondering if he's had a chance to look at anything with the financials. He wanted to see some information
Right.
that's been provided to him.
Okay.
So now, what's the next step for looking at things? He's the expert on this. I'd like to see what he's found out and whether he's got some recommendations. Discussion of River Falls and St. Paul assessments. Is there anything new on that front?
The only thing I would suggest is at the last meeting, there was a discussion about, well, we really don't need to be talking about partnerships or anything. And I think it would be a mistake to not at least be in conversation with River Falls. We may not be in partnership, but I think we could perhaps improve how we overlap and take care of some of the perhaps there's some opportunities to take care of the areas where we don't need as much coverage. So that one looks like a real prime one where we could possibly help each other. So, but we need to keep in touch with them and just stay open to what they're doing, maybe track what they're doing, because they're in the same situation we are, and the recommendation from the people who did the assessment was to proceed as they are, which is like us.
I agree.
So we just,
Do you have a relationship with those folks? I think they're changing their management, right?
Yep, they're actually recruiting right now for a new director.
Yeah. How'd you get along with the old director? I can't remember his name.
It was Jeff,
Yeah.
and he's still there. He's part of the organization, just in a different role.
Have you had informal conversations with him or them about cooperation?
Not recently.
Okay.
Yeah, the last time it came up was when they did the study in 2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've always had a good relationship with River Falls, though, yeah.
Okay. Number 7, discussion and possible action on a strategic plan.
we need one.
Well, yes, this came up because somebody recognized that River Falls, there was a lack of a strategic plan that was mentioned in their study. So where do we start? And how do we go about formulating a strategic plan?
I have a longstanding prejudice against strategic planning.
Uh-huh.
Been through, I can't tell you how many strategic planning exercises I've been through. And the exercises themselves are helpful, but my view is you can pitch the strategic plan as soon as the exercise is done, because all kinds of things are going to change. The planning itself is worthwhile, but I've never seen a strategic plan that anybody ever came close to following. That said,
Yeah.
I think that the staffing plan that you created for the next 5 years is in effect the strategic plan that you're working under now. And since staffing is the most important and crucial issue, I think that, I mean, that's your working plan. My question is, I mean, last time we met, we got excited because in the short term, that plan was not working, where we were not very well staffed for one weekend, and we were worried about the next 2 weekends. You fixed that for these 2 weekends, and I assume for the near future. But have you figured out how to get through the year, or maybe the next couple of years?
My anticipation is it's going to be about a 3 to 6 month process to get fully staffed to where we need to be.
Okay.
And then it's going to be recruiting. The one thing we can't do that other larger agencies can do is we can't bring on a lot of people at once
Right.
because our training resources are limited.
Ah,
We only have a few people that can really sit down and dig into it. And if you have, 4 people following one person around, things can kind of get
yeah.
a little too much,
You don't wanna have
overwhelming. So,
4 rookies on one shift.
right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of a staggered process as we go. We just brought on 2 more pointed positions the other night and 1 casual. I'd still like to get about 5 more of the pointed positions to complement what we need.
Okay. And you're
But-
still advertising and recruiting?
Yeah, we're constantly advertising, so, but it'll be a staggered process. I just don't want to overwhelm
Yeah.
the system as we bring people on.
Given the wrinkles of the first few weeks of the year, which I'm sure were unanticipated, what's your level of confidence for the next 3 to 6 months that we'll be able to cover all the shifts we need to cover?
Now that we've identified flexibility, I'm fairly confident that we can make this
Okay.
function.
And your meeting with Brenda reinforced that view, I assume?
Devin was actually able to clarify some of
Okay,
the caps,
good.
so.
Well, I think of course, coming from 3M, where you lived and died by the strategic plan, but you revisited it every year as well,
Yeah.
because the climate always changed.
Right.
But what was important was from that strategic plan is you looked at what am I supposed to be doing this year to be moving forward? And that was that was really but you always had to bring it back, so you were working in concert with everyone else. That's not quite as much of an issue here because we're talking about one small entity. And if the city redevelops its strategic plan, which we're hoping will happen, then we'll see where the fit is. But I think there are some critical questions that, and Joyce and I have been kicking these around and said, is this a public service entity, or are we trying to make money at this? Are we trying to make it pay for itself? Or are we willing to serve it just like the fire department or the police, which are totally funded by the city? Yeah. We seem to have always had an issue with that gap, the 75% funding that we're able to generate, revenue we're able to generate. And that 25% gap just seems to irritate people. And they're always looking for ways to cut the costs, find some other way to fund it. We need to resolve that question, and that may be part of the strategic plan. Maybe you don't want to call it a strategic plan of what's your direction.
Yeah,
Strategic direction might be a better term for it.
Right.
But so where are we going? And will the people, will the citizens support it? We got a lot of feedback on the process last year that they would support it. Now we need to turn that into some genuine support.
I agree.
So that's,
And I think the tenor of the conversation, I was in on some of those conversations last summer, and the conclusion I reached is that the majority of folks in the city think of this as a public service. And we're shocked that anyone would think of it otherwise. But I agree, I think that's an issue we have to address head on and resolve.
yeah. And what goes with that is, are you going to pay for it?
Right.
And
Yes.
let's get out of the agony
Right.
that we go through every year. And
And I think that's what we really need to discuss in a strategic plan,
Yes.
is, all right, if we're going to follow the plan that we had approved, which was to continue to increase full-time paramedic staff numbers, then we're going to have a serious conversation about how we're going to be paying for it. And that should be part of the strategic plan,
I
is
agree.
where's the money coming from? And, how much is the community willing to pay for this service?
Right.
And then another question would be, what do we want our service to look like in 3 years, 5 years,
Right.
et cetera? And then also, one of the growing trends is having combination paramedics and firefighters. Is that something that we should be starting to look at, because are our volunteer numbers for firefighters dropping? So those are the kinds of things that we need to be addressing.
I agree.
And that's what I'm talking about when I say the words strategic plan.
Right. I'll swallow my tongue. I think that's an essential exercise, everything that you both have said. No argument whatsoever.
Okay, so is there something that we should be calling it that isn't?
Strategic planning exercise always works for me.
Okay.
Because it's the planning that's important.
Yes. Well, and I think that making sure that everyone has the same understanding
Yeah.
of where we're going and
Right.
what our plan
Right.
is extremely important. Because how can we work together if one person thinks that it's going in this direction and somebody
Right.
else thinks it's going in a different direction? It's not
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
I agree.
And so, all right, so discussion and possible action on strategic plan. The last time was mentioned, do we have a mission and a vision? Do we have a mission and a vision?
I guess we don't really have one that's been decided upon,
Articulated.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody knows what they need to do.
right.
They need to go out and save lives and get people to where they need to be. And, but, with everything, when it comes to the city, I think everybody agrees on what needs to be done. We need, the streets to be cleaned, we need to have emergency services. But the question is, how are we gonna provide them and how much money is gonna be available to do it? And those are the kinds of things that we need to be working on. So, who would need to be involved in the strategic planning sessions? Would we, I think that this would be something that the council and then our other municipal partners should be involved in as well.
And some folks from the EMS as well.
Yes.
On the other hand, you get a group more than 6 or 7, it becomes very unwieldy,
Okay.
in my experience. I don't know, Jim, you've done a lot of this.
I've been in groups of 20 or 25.
Yeah, so have I.
But,
Hence my comment.
you have to walk the line between getting the input from all the necessary functions
Right,
and owners and versus getting something done.
yeah,
So that usually requires a pretty good facilitator.
sure,
That's what that takes to make a larger group function.
right.
You break up into small groups and have your discussions and, classic kinds of activities like that.
So the facilitator is crucial to getting this done.
Well, I guess the first thing we need to do is define it. What is it we're trying to do? And that may take somebody helping us with that definition,
Mhm.
and then go out to all the interested parties and saying, here's what we're planning to do. How do you want to participate? Do you want to just be informed, or you want to be part of the discussion? Something like that. 'Cause in a business, it's much clearer.
True.
So, because you've got all the functions, they're all
Right,
grouped,
right,
they're all
right.
the same focus. Here, we've got customers that are really dependent on us, so we need to
Mhm.
consider them, and they have special issues, particularly around finances, that we need to be aware of.
Right.
I think it'd be a good agenda item for the 28th for the commission meeting
Okay.
to get some input there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, anything else on the strategic plan? EMS items for discussion only? Are the monthly meetings scheduled?
We don't have anything scheduled for February yet.
Okay. You going to schedule something?
Yeah, once we figure out some topics.
Okay.
Alert everybody to strategic planning.
Yeah, opportunities to participate in that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Future agenda items?
Nothing that we haven't already talked about here.
Yeah. All right, next meeting time and date. So Wednesdays don't seem to be working, so,
Wednesdays don't work.
Mondays work okay for you?
I mean, in general.
Yeah.
So we need to check it out with Paul and John.
Yeah, so. Should we look at the 26th of February? That's our next council meeting, so we could meet
Okay.
at 5:30 again?
And see, I don't think the 5:30 works for Paul because he's got a daughter in hockey, I think it is.
Okay,
But I can check with him.
Is Monday the only other alternative besides Wednesday?
well, you know what, I'm available the 27th, which is Tuesday. I've got a cable board meeting at 4:30, so I can meet after that, so 6:30 on Tuesday, the 27th?
Would we have enough to meet on then? The EMS commission meeting would
Oh.
be after that.
Yeah.
So maybe we
It's
should
late
wait
this
and
month.
meet after the commission meeting?
I'm thinking maybe an early March meeting would be better. That way
Okay,
we have a little bit more information to talk about.
All right,
So that would be the first on Thursday, or move it into next week.
all right. Which one?
Either the first, March 1st is a Thursday right after the commission meeting. It's a short month.
We could meet on the 1st, 6:30?
Yeah, first works for me.
Okay.
First. 6:30?
Joe, were you able to attend first?
Can we reach out to Paul and John?
All
I
right.
will.
And if that doesn't work, then
So we pick an
the
alternate?
5th of March, 6:30?
That would work for me too.
Normally, we would have our city council meeting, but
Yeah, that's not till the 12th.
it's not till the 12th.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, all right.
Those are both, let's see,
Mhm.
okay,
Excellent.
so it's a Monday and or a Thursday. and a
Thursday and a
Tuesday.
Monday.
Yep. Mhm.
So, and then, yeah, we'll see whether John can be here, because that's really
Right,
critical
yeah.
to have everybody here.
Oh, so Monday, the 5th,
Monday, the 5th.
Yes, either or, yeah.
okay,
Yes, Thursday, the 1st, or
Okay.
Monday, the 5th.
cool,
Both 6:30.
great.
All right. Anything else that we need to go over? All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.